myself and the entire administration, we want to welcome you to Confluence Academy South City to our quarterly cabinet and community event. Thank you all for being here. Give yourselves a round of applause. And today I'm privileged to have a co-host with me. We have a member of the Mayor's Youth Cabinet, and I'd love her to introduce herself.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mackenzie Sky Moore. I am the co-chair of the Events Committee of Cohort 2 of the Mayor's Youth Cabinet. I am so excited to be here for this informational day, as well as honored to introduce our mayor, Mayor Tishara Ojo.
I'm sorry if I'm smiling so much. I'm just so proud of my Mayor's Youth Cabinet. So good morning, everyone. Good morning. I want to thank the leadership of Confluence Academy for hosting us today. And also want to thank Alderman Cone for being here with us today in the beautiful 3rd Ward. Before I begin my prepared remarks, if you will indulge with me, I want to take a moment of silence for Sarah Howell. She was an assistant principal who lost her life last year, and we want to recognize that, so we can take a moment of silence for Principal Howell. Thank you. So I used to live right up the street from here in the Shaw neighborhood, and when I was pregnant with my son, one of my nightly cravings was Ted Drewes right over here on South Grand. I have fond memories of being here in Dutchtown and being here with the business owners, many of whom I see in the audience. But also want to take a moment to introduce the cabinet and staff that I brought with me today. I'll just introduce the ones at the table and then ask the rest of them to wave. So we already know Alderman Shane Cone is here, my Chief of Staff, Jared Boyd, our Police Chief, Chief Robert J. Tracy, and Director of Streets, Traffic, and Refuse, Bethany Williams, Building Commissioner Ed Ware, and our Forestry Commissioners who's standing in for our Director of Forestry, Rec, and Parks, Alan Jankowski. Alan's also the man who taught me how to ride on a lawnmower. So, speaking of lawnmowers and city services, I just want to let you know that I'm going to take this microphone and so you can hear me better. We are investing in city services and the hardworking people who provide them. So we have most recently given another 3% raise to city employees. That's on top of the raises in the last 2 years. And a 7% raise for police and fire, again, in addition to the raise they got last year. We are hiring a contractor to help with bulk pickup and illegal dumping in our alleys. So that's so make sure that if you do see people dropping off things in your alleys that aren't supposed to, like illegally dumping, let us know through CSB. And we have some members of our neighborhood stabilization team here with us today. You want to raise your hand here in the back? And I'm sorry, any other members of the mayor's cabinet and staff, please raise your hand. Good. We also have installed more cameras in our alleys to catch these illegal dumpers at work, so we can catch them and then prosecute them later. And we've increased fines for illegal dumping. So I believe the last number that I heard was we've collected about $40,000 from people for dumping in our alleys. We're also hiring additional contractors to cut grass this summer, in addition to the work that our forestry department does and parks department. And we're exploring a trash pilot program to study how to change some alleyway trash to roll carts. I know some have big dump dumpsters. I personally have a roll card. About 20% of the city has a roll card. And so we are doing a pilot program to see how we can expand that to pick up trash a little better. Many of you might have been rolling over some potholes. And so we have, through the Streets Department, put together a pothole tracker. So you can just Google pothole tracker STL and you can see which potholes are outstanding and which ones have been filled, and track that progress over the last 7 days, 28 days, and over the last year. And I think the last time I looked at it, we filled over 1,000 potholes in the last 30 days. So yes, round of applause to our Streets Department for that. And we're building a new 911 dispatch center. Back in October, we broke ground on a new 911 dispatch center that's going to house all of our dispatchers in one place. And increase our response times even more. We've been able to increase response times by 60% during my administration, and hopefully with the completion of this new center, which will also house our emergency management staff, we'll be able to increase that even more. We have purchased new fire trucks, ambulances, police cars, and electric city cars, so you'll be seeing those out on the streets pretty soon. And one of the things I'm really proud of that we launched about a week ago is One Stop Gov. We are slowly trying to take more and more of our processes online, and One Stop Gov is for online special events permitting and payment. So if you're doing an event in a park, or you want to do an event downtown, or a 5K, you can do all of that online, and soon we'll be expanding to other divisions. And so I want to give a quick shout out to Cindy and Simon for that project. It was a yeoman's job, and I just love it. Also, we are always hiring. We're always hiring. We're always hiring and looking for seasonal positions like lifeguards, front desk workers at our rec centers. I know there's a rec center close to here, so we want to make sure that our college kids coming home from college can work with our babies in our summer camps. At summer camp, actually, the registration opens soon, I believe. But we'd love to have your kids working with us this summer, either as a lifeguard or a front desk worker at our rec center, or working with our kids. On paving, as another interactive map that we have launched online, if you just Google Friendly Streets, you'll be able to see an interactive map that outlines all of our upcoming paving projects for the next 3 years. Now, these are the big paving projects, not the little ones in your wards, but like the big ones. So right now we're paving all of our north-south thoroughfares, or most of our north-south thoroughfares, and you will also be able to see any state work. So MoDOT projects are also on that website. Paving on Grand is set to begin in October, starting in north at Hall Street, and we'll go all the way down to Holly Hills. So we'll be repaving the entire road. It's also going to be in conjunction with some work that Great Rivers Greenway is doing on North Grand as well. So we broke ground on that last week. And Shane, do you have anything to add about ward capital paving in your ward coming up? There's a microphone right there. Yep.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to piggyback off of Grand, many of you that travel Grand may have noticed that we have new medians that were installed along Grand and between Osceola and Delore. They have new flower pots on them that will be maintained by neighbors around there. And we also just recently had a transportation forum to get input on the second phase of Louisiana Calm Street. So that's the extension of Louisiana Calm Street from Merrimack South down to Holly Hills, with the eventual goal of connecting Carondelet Park with Tower Grove Park and all of the commercial districts in between. So Merrimack, Chippewa, Cherokee, Grand South Grand, and the other community assets that are along Louisiana, like Marquette Park and Graveway Park and Roosevelt High School, Cleveland High School, and the International Institute. So stay tuned for that in Ward 3 as well.
Great. On to public safety. This past Wednesday, of course, the governor signed the law that provides for a state takeover of our police department. Look, I'm not happy about it either. I personally believe that this disrespects every Missouri voter who voted for local control. And we have aggressively fought this for the last 3 years. This takes away the city taxpayers' control and accountability over taxpayer-funded policing. And our residents are safer today because of the bold decisions that we've made, which results in a historic decrease in crime. I was just talking to the chief before we started today, and as we stand here today, our homicides are the lowest they've been since what year? 1990. 1990. I was graduating from high school in 1990. So that now you can see how old I am. But in all seriousness, we have been communicating with the governor's office and the state regarding the next steps, and we'll let you know as soon as we know anything. So we will keep moving on that. I am just hopeful that this change does not negate or roll back all of the progress that we've made over the last 4 years, and how we have an all hands on deck strategy with prevention, intervention, and enforcement through our Office of Violence Prevention led by Jonathan Strong, through our community partners that we fund, and also our partnership with the Circuit Attorney's Office. So there are a lot of unanswered questions, and we will communicate them to you as soon as we know more as well. For our youth and young people, you know, I love the babies. I love the babies, and so there's tons of free programming offered through our city rec centers, tennis, adult basketball, boxing, soccer, to name a few. Just last week, I went to Tandy Rec Center to go to a DJ school graduation. I've always wanted to be a DJ, so I may take that class after this, you know, because I might need another skill. But it was just amazing to watch these kids as they started to learn how to transition between records and mix records, or I say records, I'm sorry, songs, MP4s, radio, right. But one of the things I encourage them is that, you know, not only are they DJs, we're teaching them a skill that they can monetize for many, many years to come. If all else fails, they can go get, well, we used to go get 2 turntables and a mixer, and be able to, you know, DJ, but also get a job in radio, get a job, you know, in radio, and they can become influencers themselves. A lot of us listen to DJs and what they say. And so I just really impressed upon them that this is just the beginning of new careers for them. But that's just one of the camps that we have available. Summer camp registration begins on April 1st on the city's website, or if you want to do it in person, it's from 8 to 4:30 at all of our 7 rec centers. Again, we're hiring for lifeguards and recreation assistants. So if your college kids or high school kids, if they're old enough, want to work with us this summer, please do. And again, you know, I'm super proud of my Mayor's Youth Cabinet, which is a collection of high schoolers from all over the city. Our next cohort's application is open, and the deadline is Monday, March 31st. So if you have a teenager in your house that you love and you want them to be a part of the Mayor's Youth Cabinet, I encourage you to go to the city's website and apply. Just search for Mayor's Youth Cabinet. Or you can follow them on Instagram at MYC, what's it? MYCSTL? MYCSTL. They have some really good stuff there. Related to the federal government, we began preparing for and monitoring the Trump administration and what they were doing the day after the election, so back in November. And more than $172 million annually is at stake in our city's budget if these cuts stay. And that includes housing, money for housing, for HIV and AIDS outreach, money for our seniors, our public health research, our youth programming, job training, public safety, and more. Also at stake for our community if these cuts go through or if they remain, Head Start and K-12 education, social safety net programs, programs for our international residents, as we've already seen with our International Institute having to lay off tons of people, tariffs threatening development, and also equality for our LGBTQIA plus residents, veterans, and more. We are supporting workers in every way we can who were fired or under attack. We joined the St. Louis Gateway District APWU workers to protest Trump's takeover of our post office. And we value our federal workers who were laid off, and we welcome them to join us at City Hall if they find a job that they want to join us. We will continue to monitor the rapidly changing federal landscape, including congressional action on the tax cut bill that could result in trillions of dollars of cuts to programs that are critical to our community. So we will stay abreast of what's going on there. And lastly, just want to give you a brief overview of our investment in you. All of our money from the American Rescue Plan Act has been allocated. Some things that you'll see locally in Marquette Park, we resurfaced the basketball and pickleball courts. Some of you who might have been there when we did the ribbon cutting for the basketball courts saw me play basketball in 3-inch heels. We removed the stairs to nowhere in Marquette Park. There's a new water fountain over there. And at the Marquette Rec Center, we resurfaced the gym floor and renovated the locker rooms, upgraded the boiler, the roof, and the HVAC system. And we're installing Wi-Fi at Marquette Park, Marquette Rec Center. The Louisiana Calm Streets is also a project that is continuing, and we have stabilized 14 properties in Dutchtown. We've built 60 new affordable homes through Marquette Homes. Family Care Health Center is building a new facility, and it's a $15 million new facility that's going to grace Dutchtown. And we've also provided small business grants for community anchors like the Winklemans. And you've seen our Show Me Peace violence intervention specialists in the neighborhood in their bright green jackets and their bright green outfits. And there's more. There's free Wi-Fi at Gravois Park now. So, and that's in addition to the 9 other parks that we have provided free Wi-Fi in across the city. I would like the chief to come up and give a brief public safety update, and then we'll open it up for questions. Does that sound good? Yes. All righty. You gotta stand right here.
So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So the mayor talked about some good news that's happening, but a lot of the things I'm going to talk about don't happen without an overall comprehensive plan. We in policing can't do this alone. We have to do it with a plan, with partners, with the community, with police, but also we talk about Office of Violence Prevention, we talk about youth services, we talk about the community groups, we talked about elected officials, our aldermen that's in this neighborhood and the Board of Alders. All these things coming together, and where we're at right now, the mayor talked about some historic numbers. Yeah, we're at one of the lowest levels that we've seen in decades. We hope to keep sustaining that, and we'll be doing a quarterly crime update meeting next week. That we'll put some of the numbers out and graphs and everything you can see. But in this community and across the city, we want to be as transparent as possible. We've upgraded our website. Our website, you can get the same information I'm telling you right now. I go to slmpd.org/stats, and you can go up there, and when you go to that site, the reports that I'm reading right here, you have. I want you to have that. It breaks it down by citywide. It breaks it down by North, Central, South Patrol. It breaks it down by district, which is 1 through 6. We're right now in the 1st district. And then it breaks it down by the 88 neighborhoods. So you can take a look at what's going on in Dutchtown. those 88 neighborhoods, so those things break things down by 7-day versus the last 7 days, the same time last year, 28-day, and then year to date. So we talk about our homicide numbers. Our homicide numbers right now are at some of the lowest that we've seen in decades. That's great news. But it's still, we're talking about people that are grieving over victims of homicide, and we're gonna continue that work, and hopefully we can keep that trend going. But we also have to reduce the shootings, and that's some of the things. Reduce the shooting incidents, then you reduce the homicides. 90% of our murders in this city are by gunshot. So when we reduce that, we start to bring that down. That's why we rely heavily, and I want to thank the support of the elected officials and also the mayor with the executive order, that surveillance technology, we will make sure that we're protecting your civil rights and liberties. But using technology helps us catch the bad guy when they do something wrong. It helps us prevent some of the crime from happening. So we will make sure that there's safeguards in place. I've testified several times for this and what we're doing to protect people's constitutional rights. But at the same time, when you talk about shot spotting, you talk about license plate reading, you talk about cameras, these are good things. And they're good things because they keep us safe, because sometimes we're at critically low areas of getting people back into this profession. Not just in St. Louis, but across the United States. But with that, we have an academy class that's graduating on the 24th. Yeah, yes, we got another one that'll be graduating several months now, and we're gonna be putting another one in. And I think it's 33 officers in the last 2 years that left St. Louis to go to other jurisdictions. I've sworn them back in. I just swore one back in last week. Well, I think yesterday, 2 weeks ago. So they're coming back in. They're coming back to this profession. They're coming back to work in St. Louis because it's an honorable, noble profession, and we're gonna start bringing them back. You know, I think a lot of departments are suffering through the same thing, but the mayor talked about some of the key things that we have to do. The economics of being a police officer, when we're competing against all those other jurisdictions for the same pool of personnel. She gave one of the largest raises 2 years ago to these officers that they've seen in decades. I can't go back further, but that's what they tell me. But it was a substantial raise to make us competitive. Then the mayor came back and gave a 7% raise to the officers just a couple of months ago. And right now they're in the middle of an economic reopener because their contract expires on June 30th. So we're already in talks with these officers to make sure that we can be competitive against these other jurisdictions, make sure that we can compete, make sure we can bring people back into our profession. So, and the other thing is, when I talk about transparency, we also have a thing called crime mapping that we're able to get back up online. You can look and go in every 24 hours, it's refreshed. You can look in and geofence any area going back 6 months, and you can use any time frame you want to take a look what's happening in your area and what type of crimes are being committed. There's 2 things that are not in there, juvenile crimes and also sexual assaults, because you can look by area, and I want to protect the victims when they might be victimized by that type of crime. So those are the type of things that we're doing, we're going to continue to do. One of the things when I came through the door a couple of years ago, getting back to those community meetings, getting back and get my officers that serve you, not just the community liaison, but the officer that handles your jobs, handles your 911 calls. Those are the ones you're going to meet. And I want you to meet them when you're not under crisis, but in these type of rooms, your commanders, your majors, and then if I can get around, I try to make as many meetings as possible, but I do rely on my captains, I do rely on my majors, my lieutenants, my sergeant. The Cardinals, did you say? Colonels, all right. Well, the Cardinals too, but I'm a Yankee fan, so I do rely on the, I got you. I heard you. And we do rely on our colonels as well, but yes. You got a favorite colonel that I'm missing? Who?
Captain, no, Lieutenant Colonel Antoinette Fila.
Okay.
She's
Yeah.
retired, but
Yeah.
she gave me the 1300 block of Bayard. And my order was, keep the law off of my block. I got my block. If I need you, I'll come get you, but I got this.
Well, we're trying to make sure that we're trying.
Stop the block.
You really get me laughing up here, but the thing is, but you did get me laughing. But here's the thing, I am human, I do have a sense of humor, but that's actually a great point. We're trying to make sure that everyone's serving the community in unique areas in the way when you get to know people, you have that partnership. And that's what I'm trying to get our officers back to. Because we went through COVID, we went through people separating, we went to the Zoom world. We gotta meet in rooms like this. We gotta have these conversations, and we gotta have a laugh like we just had right now. All right, I don't know if I'm gonna get through this. Give me a chance, all right? And I'll talk to you afterwards. So, and I'll be here to take questions. And then if this doesn't happen, and I'm just gonna end it, and I know we're gonna go into part of the rest of the program, but we also have our officers here. We have Sergeant Blanks, and we also have Police Officer Wells, right back here. So these are the ones that are serving the community boots on the ground. And there's another guy, Big Bill Brush back there too, Sergeant Brush. So I wanna thank them, because that job, and the civilians that are in our police department, yes, we're doing more things with less. They do a tremendous job, and most of this credit and everything that our successes are because of the men and women of this police department. And I want to thank them. I couldn't be more privileged to be their leader. And thank you, Mayor, for taking a chance on me and making me the leader here, because it's one of my proudest moments. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Mayor Jones and Chief Tracy. There are a couple announcements I forgot to make at the top. There are restrooms outside these doors right here, and we brought City Hall to you. We have a number of city departments here to provide resources. The Department of Health is here with Narcan and COVID tests. We have neighborhood stabilization here as well to take your service requests and help you get help with city services. The police department's here, the fire department's here. Heat Up, Cool Down is here to help with your utility bills. And we also have I'm sure you saw in the parking lot, the mobile clinic vans, which are actually funded with ARPA COVID relief money. And they are here today to schedule appointments for free lead screenings for families and children. So
Yes.
make sure you stop by the classroom and the library before you leave.
Great. Thank you, Emily.
Yeah, no problem. And we're now going to move into the question and answer period of the program. So if you have a question, we're going to start forming a single file line facing me. So I think we have our first taker. Maybe. Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Anybody got any questions?
You got 2 minutes. And Lakeisha and Mackenzie will be taking our time.
I know how to read that. Where's your mic? We've got bad streets. Under the North Broadway, no, is it Hall? Tore up my 2016 black drop-top Camaro and put me back in my car truck. But we need to do something about these potholes. Hi, Shai. Secondly, the police department needs to start talking to people, grassroots organizations. City St. Louis up here, okay? 50 years I've given as a civil activist. I'm requesting that they get a place to search a person in our 3rd district. I was neglected. I was waist up, naked, across from the center. I would like for some attention for this. I was beat up by 7 July. And just because I got a doozy for a shot 2 weeks ago, I'm up. But I was on the cane at the last meeting. Okay, now, what I'm asking, I'm Save the Babies Coalition. I've been in since 2001. I'm a state chartered organization. I can tell you what's going on in the Justice Center. Before I had called the counselor to fight for myself, I got locked up twice a year. So I know what's going on. But you gotta let we, the people, in these doors with you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other questions? No, you don't get to ask twice.
I ain't saying get up. Come on. We
Come.
got our mayor on this side of
We
town.
brought the entire cabinet to you, so please.
I'll even come to you.
Right.
I've never done that.
If you don't want to stand up, we'll come to you.
Raise your hand.
There you go.
All right. Well, we will stick around if you don't feel comfortable asking a question on the microphone. But again, want to thank you all for coming. And again, all of our cabinet and staff are here if you have any questions. And then in the library, we have, we've tabled several city departments. So please stop by the library before you leave so you can pick up some great information from our city departments. And again, thank you all for coming. Have a great Saturday.